Welcome to Paranormal Nightshift, the ultimate destination for all things that go bump in the dark, where your spine-tingling fan stories come to life. I'm Gideon, your host and guide through the eerie and unexplained. Before we dive into today's chilling tale, I've got something special for you, a free copy of the first ebook in the Dimensional Desperado series, The Birth of Dimensional Desperado, featuring Buck Freeman's unforgettable origin story. Visit paranormalnightshift.com to grab your copy now and step into a world where the paranormal meets the Wild West. Now, on to today's story, submitted by Lexy. It's called The House. So sit back, dim the lights, and prepare yourself for a journey into the unknown. Thanksgiving that year started out like any other, a time for food, laughter, and reconnecting with friends. But little did I know it would end in one of the strangest, most unexplainable experiences of my life. I was heading to my friend Jake's house to spend the holiday. Jake and I were in the Job Corps together. I was learning heavy equipment operation, and he was training in something else entirely. Joining us were Sky and her girlfriend, who were always up for a good time and a bit of mischief. Jake had a knack for turning even the most mundane moments into unforgettable adventures, so when he casually mentioned he'd found a haunted house nearby, the group's interest was immediately piqued. "Hey, wanna check out a haunted house I found?" Jake asked with a mischievous grin as we sat around his living room, picking at leftovers from an early dinner. Without hesitation, we all agreed. It was a no-brainer. Thanksgiving ghost hunting? Count us in. We piled into Jake's car, a slightly beat-up but reliable old sedan, and set off into the chilly November night. The air was crisp, the kind that leaves your breath hanging in front of you, like a ghost of its own. Jake was behind the wheel, cracking jokes to lighten the mood, but there was a quiet anticipation among us. The road twisted and turned, taking us deeper into the woods, until finally we arrived. The house stood alone, its silhouette framed by gnarled trees. It was overgrown with ivy and surrounded by untamed bushes, but it wasn't the crumbling ruin I'd expected. As we stepped through the door, the musty smell of dust and age hit us, yet the interior seemed oddly pristine. Furniture remained in place, and the walls were free of the graffiti you'd expect from years of trespassers. It was like the house had been frozen in time. We started exploring, each of us equipped with our phones for pictures and recording any potential paranormal activity. At first, it was the usual ghost hunting fare, snapping photos, asking questions into the silence, and joking around to keep the nerves at bay. But nothing happened. No creaks, no whispers, nothing. After a while, I decided to head upstairs. "Maybe the spirit is shy," I joked. "Too many people." Jake gave me a mock salute. "Good luck, brave soul." The wooden stairs groaned under my weight as I ascended, the sounds echoing eerily in the stillness. The second floor was dimly lit by moonlight streaming through cracked windows. I moved from room to room, asking questions into the darkness. "Is there anyone here? What's your name? Do you want to talk?" Nothing. Then I entered one room, and something felt different. I can't explain it, but the air was heavier, and my gaze was drawn to a crack in the wooden floorboards. I don't know why, but it captivated me. I stared at it, feeling like something was just out of reach. That's when I heard it. A voice, clear and commanding, just over my right shoulder. "Get out now!" Every hair on my body stood on end. My heart raced as I spun around, but no one was there. I felt a presence, though, like someone, or something, was standing inches away. The voice wasn't angry, but it wasn't welcoming either. It was firm, like a warning. I bolted downstairs, my footsteps echoing like thunder. "We need to leave," I said, my voice shaking. Jake frowned. "Why? What happened?" "I don't know," I lied. We need to go, now." The others exchanged confused glances but didn't argue. One by one, we made our way outside. I was the last to leave, and as I stepped over the threshold, something compelled me to turn around. What I saw stopped me cold. The house, once intact and eerily preserved, was now nothing more than a pile of rubble. The walls were gone, the roof caved in. Vines and moss covered the remnants, as if nature had been reclaiming it for decades. It was impossible. Just minutes ago, we'd been inside. "Do you guys see this?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. They all turned, their faces mirroring my disbelief. The house was gone, or maybe it had never been there at all. In the stunned silence, I remembered my recorder. I pulled it out and rewound to the moment before we left. We stood there in the cold, huddled together as I pressed play. "Get out now!" The voice was unmistakable, just as I'd heard it upstairs. It sent a chill through me, and I could tell from the looks on their faces that the others heard it too. We didn't say much on the drive back to Jake's. There wasn't much to say. What could we? None of it made sense. The house, the voice, the sudden transformation. It was as if we'd stepped into another reality, only to be pushed back out. After the Job Corps, we all went our separate ways, and I lost contact with Jake. He kept the recordings, but I'll never forget that voice or the way the house seemed to dissolve into history before our eyes. To this day, I can't explain what happened that night. It's like the house existed in two states at once, there, but also not there. And whatever was inside didn't want us to stay. And that wraps up this incredible journey. A big thank you to Lexy for sharing her story with us. It was truly unforgettable. If you have a story you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it. You can submit yours right here at paranormalnightshift.com. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support the show, consider joining us on Patreon. There, you can enjoy an ad-free experience and gain exclusive access to all the future adventures of Buck Freeman, the dimensional desperado. And don't forget, you can also subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Be sure to leave a comment while you're there to let us know what you thought of this episode. Oh, and here's a little bonus for you. Visit paranormalnightshift.com to grab a free copy of the first ebook in the Dimensional Desperado series, The Birth of Dimensional Desperado. Trust me, you won't want to miss this thrilling introduction to Buck Freeman's adventures. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, stay curious, my fellow night shifters. Until next time.